Mike Brennan, and we're bringing back one of our regulars, Richard Stiennon, who does many things, but primarily they're all focused on cybersecurity. And not only does he do a security yearbook, but he's been dabbling in artificial intelligence. So our new name for Richard is Max Headroom. So all you old people like me will know who we're talking about. So tell us about what you're doing in AI, Richard.
Yeah, so it's really funny how we got here, and I'm just so thankful that at our advanced age we get to play around with such cool technology, right?
All right.
Just keeps
Back,
getting cooler.
yeah, yeah. I think we all met back in the early days of the internet when the internet was just becoming.
1990s, yes. It's hard
Yeah,
to believe that, what, 30 years, but it's like 30 years of changes. It's just
yeah,
quantum leap.
yeah. And those times were so exciting, right? It was the dot-com boom, and there are new companies every single day. And here we are in the AI generation, and same thing. There's new companies, new things to keep track of every single day. And what I'm so happy about is that we had launched a new product service, actually a new company. Really, IT Harvest was reborn as a SaaS offering way back in March of 2022. And then, if you remember, ChatGPT came out in at the end of November of 2022. So we were 6 months old. We had a product. We had a bunch of customers, and all of a sudden we could go, hey, we should figure out how to use this stuff. And IT Harvest dashboard was a just a way to filter and mine data on 3,000 companies, cybersecurity companies. Um, and if you think about it, yeah, if you're mining data, you sure should have a description of each company, right? Because you do when you go to Crunchbase or PitchBook or any of those, and you can tell when you look at them. The people in the Philippines who do all their data entry for them cut and paste from the company's website into their description. So you get descriptions that don't actually say what they do, right? As they're written by marketing people that are trying to grab a bigger piece of the pie than the company actually addresses. So we asked ChatGPT at the time through the API interface to write those descriptions. It took 72 hours to write 3,000 company descriptions, and then we carefully prompted it so it would not add superlatives. Nobody gets to be the leader in the space, or they all would be. Nobody gets to be the best or the most effective or anything like that. It's just a description of what they do. That was mind blowing to me that we could do that. Opened my eyes.
Hmm.
And then last year at this time, we added products to the database. So now you could do keyword searches or filter on NIST framework control that a product addresses, and you can see all that. So beautiful. And then we decided, hey, let's go all in and let's create an AI assistant, which is what we launched last week. And we gave it a new brand name, new domain. It's HarvestIQ.AI. And it's reminiscent of IT Harvest, so sticking a little bit to the to the brand that we harvest all this data. But now we're making it available in an AI assistant. And it, once again, just mind blowing, right? It knows more about the industry than I do because it's got all the data. It's, somehow grokked everything there's to know about all these products and all these companies. So you can ask really cool questions. Like today I asked it, what's the silliest name for a cybersecurity product? And it came back with a list of a bunch, but the number one was Goldfinger 007
Oh,
from a company called Paramount Defense. And I thought that was a good one. Number two was Bob's Fishing from Bob's Business, which is a true security industry.
Bob's business. Huh.
Yeah. And then he had Cyberbot and Cyber Experts and Kryptonite and things like that. Um, isn't that cool that you could do that? And then another question occurred to me because the hottest debate going on in cybersecurity today is platform versus best of breed,
Hmm.
with big companies like Cisco and Palo Alto Networks and Fortinet arguing and actually succeeding in getting the press to think that there is this demand for platforms. In other words, what it really is large companies want to sell their products across the entire breadth of the security industry. So they want people to buy from them. They want to be sole sourced for all security products because that's that's how Microsoft won the desktop battles, right? They got a monopoly. So the press is convinced that CISOs really do want to have only one vendor, which is ridiculous and it's just totally false. So, anyways, I asked HarvestIQ, which is the most comprehensive cybersecurity platform covering the most capabilities. Now, it basically looked at them all and it came back and it said a company called Cynet is CYNET because Cynet has an EDR product, an NDR, UEBA, SOAR, XDR, CLM, SSPM, CSPM, and ESPM. Now, bunch of gobbledygook if you're not in the space and listening to what all these acronyms mean.
Yeah,
but
what does that mean in English, Richard? So,
well, it means they got endpoint, network, user behavior, security orchestration and automation, extended detection and response. CLM is centralized log management. They've got a SaaS security posture management, cloud security posture management, and endpoint security posture management. So they got it all. And so I'm going to use this in an argument that on Substack that, hey, if the platform is what people want, how come this company isn't public already, right? It's been around for quite a while. And as a matter of fact, I can tell you how long it's been around because if I were demoing this, you'd see I'm looking at the screen, I'm looking at the output, and the output includes the ability to click on the vendor name and see a pop-up that tells you all about it. So it's pretty cool features.
Absolutely. So is this a free service or free at first or what?
Yeah.
How are you hoping to make $1 or $2 on this?
Yep, free to try. And we've made $1.59 or $159 so far because of the 71 people who've signed up for the free service. One has said, "Oh my God, 10 questions is not enough. I need to keep going." And they pulled out their credit card and plopped down $159 for a monthly subscription.
huh.
And it's, this is really interesting for me. Maybe it's more like when I started RustNet, which was an ISP. So there was a cost. It was easy to figure out a cost per new subscriber, right? Back then, Mike, you might remember we charged $19.95 for a monthly dial-up ISP service, and got that down to $10 if you paid in advance for the year.
Yeah, I remember that AOL.
Yep, and the marginal
so
cost was pretty much like we could add 100 users without buying more equipment, but we'd have to start thinking about buying more equipment. In the SOC bot or in the chat bot world, you're actually having to pay for a large language model to answer these questions, and it's very expensive. It costs up to 25 cents per question for us to.
Oh my God,
Yeah, so it adds up fast. So a free service is expensive. We're eating those costs. So, but hey, if I were venture backed, I wouldn't care about that at all. But we're bootstrapped. We have to make money, and we're just got to get the product to the point where people can't live without it. I know I can't. I use it every day already.
I've been dabbling with AI. I've been dragging my feet, and because it's the old writer thing, we think we're going to get replaced kind of thing. But everybody and his brother for the last 6 months, I get lots of press releases. I get like 600 a day. And the buzz is everybody's got an AI product that, now because everybody's jumped on the bandwagon. But I got to tell you, once you start getting into it, you know me, I write on the side. I've been playing around with this screenplay of mine, and it amazes me what AI comes up with, stuff that I never even thought of. It's suggesting, and I go, damn, So yeah, it's really something. I don't know. You've been playing around at all, Matt? Or?
Yeah, I've used it to write a couple of things, or to help me write a couple of things, I should say. And in general, it uses a little bit more flowery language and a little
Uh,
bit more value judgments and superlatives than I would use in journalism. Maybe it's been reading too much literature and not enough journalism. I don't know. But it does give you a really interesting place to start and edit from. And you're right about it throwing in ideas that you never would have thought of. I mean, it's actually useful. I hate to admit it, but it is useful.
and you have a conversation with it. I suggested an idea for my screenplay. I won't share it because I don't want anybody to steal the idea. But it said to me, "What a curious idea! I love it." And this is the AI talking to me, you know. So I went, "Wow," you know. So yeah, it's spooky. My business partner on MITech News is merely asked today, who I know you know, Richard, and I think Matt knows him.
Yep.
And he's been doing an AI series every month, and it's just fascinating how quickly it's only been a little over 2 years, and it's like, holy cow, it's
Yeah.
really evolved, you know. So
I put together a little presentation for the Detroit Working Writers, which is a group. I
I
don't
got
know
to
if
join that group, I think. So, but go ahead. So,
yeah, you really should. You really should. Um, it's the oldest professional writing group in the country, coming up, and we're celebrating our 125th year this year.
well,
Since
it's even older than that. So,
Not much.
yeah,
and but I put together a presentation, hoping that the writers should be exposed to what's going on, right? And this was 6 months ago, so it didn't even have the latest models. And I started out by saying, hey, write me a story about a young girl and a horse, but use the save the cat methodology. So instead of the hero's journey, another structure is save the cat. Um, and it did. It just laid it right out. There's a little disaster, solve it. Another disaster, solve it. And then I asked it to dive deep, write a whole chapter on one scene, and it was amazing, and it's just kind of mind blowing. But I think for a good way for writers to ease into it is not to ask it to be creative for them, but to do the hardest task for any book author there is, which is to summarize their book. It's just like you've spent 6 months or longer of your life just totally immersed in this long, complicated plot and developing all these characters, and now the publisher or your agent wants you to summarize it in 200 words or less, and that's a really difficult task. You just can't do it. Hand it off to an AI and just does it in a second. Yeah, it's like the easiest thing in the world for an AI to do. Or ask it to write your query letter, or the blurbs on the back of the book. Things that are just really difficult things for writers to do. Piece of cake for these things.
Wow.
So speaking of scripts, the author of, or the writer of the screenplay for Taxi Cab tweeted this week that he's he's facing an existential crisis because AI, he started using it, and it was better than him at writing a script in his style. Yes,
yeah, that's
write
the
it in
spooky
this guy's
part.
style. Yeah, really.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
I'm
just
gonna have to.
amazing.
I'm gonna have to try that. Something like write a tech news story in the style of Mike Brennan.
Yep.
See what it
There
comes
you
up
go.
with.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you can also create a GPT. I highly recommend you do it. It's still free, where you upload documents. So I've uploaded,
Hmm.
all the books that I can. Since the publishers at Wiley won't let me upload that book, right? It's like, oh, they're scared about it. But definitely, I uploaded all my books. So most of my writing is in my GPT, and now I can ask it to write, essays or whatever, and it uses a lot of the same wording and thoughts, at least belief system that I have. It's really cool.
Hmm. It is interesting stuff. So, um,
Well, is
when
it
is
time?
when
Is it time for Richard
I
to scare us yet, Mike? To talk about the latest, security problems out there.
oh yeah, so we should probably get into that. Yeah, sorry. So, but
Shifting.
before we
So
do, so
here ends the positive part of the segment, and now
yes,
begins the scary part.
just to wrap that up though, if folks want to learn more or play around with this, how do they do that, Richard?
Just go to HarvestIQ.AI. Simple to
That's
get
it.
in, and it's free. You just sign up, start using it.
Okay.
Okay.